Welcome in, everybody, to the 423 Football Podcast. We are back again to talk Week 5 recap. I'm your host, Brandon Bouchard, joined here, as always, by Brett Hamilton.
Hello!
And unfortunately, I don't know, Peyton's been MIA for a few weeks now, so hopefully we'll get him back sooner rather than later, maybe on Thursday.
He might be on the IR, I'm not sure.
Yeah, God, it sucks having a real job, doesn't it?
yeah, it's awful.
But, yeah, we usually go to, like, trivia at Buffalo Wild Wings on Thursdays, so usually we try to record before that, and I don't know, maybe Peyton will show up for once. But, yeah, like I said, we got a great show today, Week 5 recap. You pretty much know the drill. We're going to go over some news, and goodness gracious, I don't know if I have a fantasy team left that has a player not out for the season. I don't know about you.
No, seriously. I mean, it's every league.
Yeah, it's been rough. And this week was no better. It was definitely brutal. But yeah, we'll go through news, standouts, flops, stock ups and stock downs, and waiver wire ads. But first, we're gonna do something a little bit different on this show. Obviously, we're still fairly a new podcast, and we're always trying to think of new segments and new things to do. But if anyone knows us, you know we are. I'm not going to say connoisseurs, but we like the occasional drink.
I'm no connoisseur.
Yeah, but yeah, we thought why not just talk about or every episode just talk quick about a different type of beer. So
Beer of the Week Club.
The Beer of the Week Club. Yeah, and just to preface the whole thing, this is not any sponsorship or anything like that. We just enjoy drinking beer, and we like talking about beer and trying new things. So I don't know, just
Makes sense.
Yeah. So each episode we're going to try to have a different beer on. If any of you guys out there have suggestions for a beer to try or anything like that, don't be afraid to let us know at the 423 Football on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if you have a recommendation for us. So, with that being said, today's beer is going to be from Ballast Point, their Bonita Blonde Ale.
Bonito.
It's Bonita.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, it's the fish.
It's the fish. It's the one with the fish on it.
Yeah, I don't know. We've had Ballast Point before in the past, and I like the fact that like all their beers are basically or they have a reference to something fishing or sea related. So yeah, Bonita from Ballast Point. Ballast Point's based in San Diego, California, I believe.
Yep.
But yeah, blonde ale. So you want to crack these babies open, give them a try?
Let's crack them open.
Ooh, that's a good pop. I usually like bottled beers, or I prefer beer in a bottle or a glass usually, but
yep.
Why not try it from a can?
Why not? It's good. This is a hit.
Yeah, it's not bad. I do like it.
Awesome.
It's a little bit, I don't know. It's not as exciting as I expected, but I mean, it tastes okay.
He was expecting fireworks to go off in his
Yeah,
mouth, and it just didn't happen.
Not the first episode, I guess. Maybe next. Hey, yeah, stay tuned for our Thursday show, and you'll be wowed by what we have.
Yeah.
All right, so getting away from that, we'll be sipping on this Ballast Point for a little bit. But again, like I said, we are not. These are in no way a sponsorship deal or anything like that. We just like the beer. We're not taking any money of any kind. Just want to say that first and foremost. All right, so now let's talk fantasy news. It is a brutal Week 5.
I want one news section just for 1 week, just to not be dominated by injury news. But I mean, you can't get away from it. I mean, these are fantasy impacting injuries, but man, it's just every week something awful.
Yeah, it's been rough. So we'll just go ahead and start it off. Odell Beckham done for the year with a fractured ankle. Obviously, it was tough to watch when he went down, like right when it happened, because obviously we know about his ankle injury the past couple weeks. How it was just a sprain, but a lot of times when you have ailments like that, it's easier for other more severe injuries to occur. And right when he went down, I looked over to my brother and said, I was just like, it's broken. There's no way. It looked bad.
Yeah, I'll have to apologize to Odell. I thought I called shenanigans on that one because he had kind of got under my skin a little bit in the Buccaneers game because we saw him get literally carried off the field and then come in the next play, and that really made me irritated. And so I thought it was going to be one of those things. But once they slowed it down and you actually saw what happened to him, I was like, no, that's broken. That went the wrong way.
Yeah, very, very tough break for Odell. I will say it was apparently a clean break. He should be back, honestly. I mean, the Giants aren't going to make the postseason or anything like that, but Odell should be back to running and doing other, football activities by January, most likely. So if you're in a dynasty league, definitely don't drop him. If you're in like a one keeper league and you kind of want to hang on to him,
if you have the roster spot,
I can see it, but I don't know. It's just all how you feel about your team and your roster construction.
Yep.
All right, sticking with the Giants, I'm just going to run through these because the Giants were...
Let's go through their wide receiving core.
Oh, my gosh. They were beat to hell.
And it was the same thing. Ankle, foot, ankle, everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was all the same thing. And
they all got cankles now.
they're all going to come back with club feet.
But, yeah, Brandon Marshall, he's going to have season-ending surgery on his ankle. Dwayne Harris, also out for the season with a broken foot. And then we got Sterling Shepard. He's considered day-to-day with an ankle injury as well. He was seen in a walking boot today. So, I don't know, maybe hope for Sterling Shepard to play.
Oh, yeah.
I love Sterling Shepard. Not these next couple games because I think he has like Denver and...
Yeah, definitely not this next game.
Seattle coming up.
He's got some tough matchups, but he's also the only wide receiver they have left.
Yeah. But, yeah, we'll go through the Giants receiving core here in a little bit later on waiver wires because obviously they're all out there.
Someone has to catch the ball.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It could be Evan Ingram, though.
I'm pretty sure they promoted 2 guys from the practice squad from one position. You don't see that ever. But
yeah, that's crazy.
God, it's tough blow for the Giants. Before I go into the, I guess, not minor injuries, I shouldn't say that. Every injury on a different scale. But the Cardinals get Adrian Peterson from the Saints. They cut Chris Johnson. So finally, actually that was my first inclination when Adrian went to the Saints. I was like, or was struggling early on this season. I was like, he'd be perfect for the Cardinals after David Johnson went down. But what do you see as the impact from the Saints running back perspective? Obviously, Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, and then you got, I don't know, what do you expect from Adrian Peterson in Arizona?
As a Adrian Peterson holder, I think it can't get any worse for Adrian Peterson. And by that, I mean he was doing absolutely nothing in New Orleans. And so from that perspective, I think it changes literally nothing for the Saints running back because he was going in like 4 or 5 times a game and doing nothing. That's just not the type of player he is.
Yeah.
So I think, obviously Kamara is going to be the passing down back, and he's always a threat through the air. Mark Ingram, I mean, he's still the featured back there. It's interesting for the Cardinals. I'm not expecting him to go in and look like he was 5 years ago or 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, or be David Johnson.
Don't
expect that.
Definitely not going to be David Johnson, but Chris Johnson was not getting it done. He wasn't good enough. He has now been cut twice from the same team in the same year, which is impressive. Andre Ellington, a lot of people, I mean, he's shown a lot of signs of life through the air, but he's not the type of back that's going to run it down their throat every play, and that is the type of player they need. And that's I think Adrian Peterson can fulfill that. It can't get any worse. They're the worst running offense in the league. There's nothing but upside.
Yeah. My take of it is it obviously helps Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara because it just pushes that whole question out the door.
Those 4 touches a game will go back to them.
I really like those 2. I think it's a good time to I don't know. I think it's honestly, I want to say it'd be nice to have them, but I think it's a good time to sell because people are thinking the same way and their expectations are really high.
That's true.
But going back to the Cardinals, again, Adrian Peterson, it can't get much worse. But I do think Andre Ellington still has the same value he did as a pass catcher.
I don't think anything changed for Andre Ellington. I think if anything, he's just going to see a little bit more reps. Because he's been utilized so much in the passing game.
Yeah, but big news there. Definitely something to watch in this upcoming week with new pieces in those backfields. All right, back to injuries. We got to get back to the sad news.
Yeah, got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, okay. Devontae Parker left the game early with a sprained ankle. He's considered day-to-day. Charles Clay had surgery on a torn meniscus and sprained MCL. He will miss at least a month.
Another tight end bites the dust.
Another one, and one that really the only weapon the Bills had.
That is really sad.
Zay Jones still looking.
A lot of people were picking up Clay because of all the other tight end injuries, and it happened to him.
Yeah. So tough break there. Bilal Powell day to day with a calf injury. It's apparently looking like he's not going to play in this game against the Patriots. Yeah. So Elijah McGuire, we'll talk about him a little bit later in our waiver wire section, but it looks like he could get a pretty heavy workload. Yep. Terrence West and Orleans Darkwa were also knocked out from their games with calf injuries. So these running backs with calf injuries, I guess just soft tissue injuries, really.
The calf is the new hamstring.
I suppose there's still a lot of hamstring injuries going on right now.
There's no shortage of that. I know.
Yeah. So just definitely going to have to monitor all these throughout the week. Just want to mention, not really fantasy related, but just another brutal blow for the Texans. J.J. Watt, once again, back-to-back years where he's knocked out for the year. This time with a tibial plateau fracture. The MRI is still coming to determine any ligament damage, but he's not going to play this year, which is
brutal. I mean,
he's so fun to watch.
I know he makes that defense so much more fun to watch. I will say that he didn't play. He obviously missed a chunk of the season last year, and they did fine because their defensive front is so stout. But with him there, that was a huge front seven. Yeah, it's just a real bummer for him. Yeah, bummer for the Texans.
It's a brutal week, and the fact that we lose one of our most exciting defensive players in the NFL and the most exciting offensive player in the NFL. Yeah, it's a tough week.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get away from that, and we'll talk about standouts. We'll get into a more positive light.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start with the QB. I'm gonna go. What was your QB standout?
My standout was Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson, 35 points in this game, 5 touchdowns, 112 yards of that, and 2 touchdowns came in garbage time. So it's still.
He can still make it happen, though.
He can.
Fantasy, garbage time's fine.
Yeah, and just what he can do with his legs, and he's showing that he can actually, or he knows the offense, and what they're doing. And I really like that he is Will Fuller now, and I love what DeAndre Hopkins brings to the table, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But, Deshaun Watson, how can he not be? 2 back-to-back 30-point games.
And, the Chiefs, that was a really tough matchup for a young quarterback. They're coming in undefeated, and that's a really tough matchup. So.
Yeah.
Mine, a little surprising, because there's been a lot of hate going around. I'm going to say Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch?
I want to say Mitch, because if you actually watch that game, he showed a lot of potential.
Yeah, not so much with the points.
His stat line was not great. This is just more for the whole Bears team. I think it's definitely an upgrade from Mike Glennon. And the stat line, when you look at it, is 12 for 25, 128 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. That kind of sealed the deal on the game. But he started off really strong. He started off playing really, really well. Penalties just plagued them. They couldn't get anything going because of the penalties. And he was showing a lot of signs of life. He's kind of died down in the middle, and then he got hot again at the end of the game. And I just think it's a big difference. He's a big difference maker for that Bears offense that has been pretty much anemic with Mike Glennon. So I think going forward, not necessarily a streaming option yet, but not that they have a lot of offensive weapons to begin with, but their wide receiving core is pretty slim.
Yeah, definitely.
So not a whole lot of upside there, but
yeah, it's promising to see that or a quarterback actually doing something, especially how young he is and how little.
So I keep an eye on the situation. It wasn't as bad as the stat line would say.
Yeah. All right, running back standout. Who you got as one of your running backs?
Aaron Jones. Just a monster game. I mean, 19 for 125 yards and 1 touchdown. His average yards per carry was 6.6, which is more than double what Ty Montgomery's has been in his best game this year. It was just a really, really good outing for him.
Yeah, and I will say it was a very, very favorable matchup against the Cowboys. Cowboys defense looks horrendous, especially with Sean Lee out. There's just no stoppage at all. I will ask, when Ty Montgomery's healthy, because he will be healthy at some point, do you expect him to just take over that complete number one role again? Or do you think Aaron Jones will be still in the mix?
No, I was actually going to ask you the same question, being the resident Packer expert.
Yeah, I mean, I got my opinion.
I know you. I know you know all about it. You probably got that insider information. You're holding out on me. But no, I think Aaron Jones has earned a spot on his team. And I think that I don't think he didn't just take over the job. I mean, you can't do that in 1 week. But he showed that there's value in letting him get on the field.
Yeah. I'll just go ahead and I think I told you this take last week of what I thought about Aaron Jones, because I like Ty Montgomery. I think he can be a good back, but he's still really not a running back.
No, he can't take the hits like Aaron Jones can.
Yeah,
Aaron Jones, he can pound it in there.
And Ty has been injury prone, really, over his career. Yeah. But Aaron Jones he's a running back. He knows how to play the position. He looked good. Yeah. Honestly, if I was the Packers, I'd probably roll with him as a starter, especially if Ty sits this week and he does this again against the Vikings, who have a pretty stout defense.
Yeah, that'll be a real test.
Yeah, that'll be impressive. But
could you see him moving Ty Montgomery into more of a passing back or passing down back?
I mean,
because he obviously has the hands coming from the wide receiver.
They'll still use Ty Montgomery, so it's a very testy situation. But
I also don't think that the Packers are the type of team that's going to go running back committee either. That just doesn't seem like them.
No, they usually like running with one guy. Mike McCarthy usually likes picking one guy and rolling with him. I mean, they spell other running backs here and there, but Aaron Jones, I told you this last week. I think he looks Kareem Hunt-esque.
He does.
I'm not saying
he's Kareem Hunt light.
I'm not. I'm not saying he's Kareem Hunt or what he can do by any means.
No.
Granted, we've seen just barely more of what Kareem Hunt can do than Aaron Jones, but he's the same kind of stature. Yeah. He's got speed. His cuts are incredibly quick. Yeah. And I think
very similar.
And he's got good hands out of the backfield too. I don't know. He had one sideline catch that was incredible, just a bullet from Aaron Rodgers, and it's a tough catch for a receiver, let alone a running back that's basically like 5'8" to make. So,
he's a little guy.
Yeah, so definitely keep an eye on the situation in Green Bay. It's going to be fun to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
My running back standout, I'm going with Jerick McKinnon. 20 points in this game, 22 touches, 146 yards, and a touchdown. The 22 touches, though, really stood out to me because I thought it was going to be more Latavius Murray. Yeah. I thought they were going to try to grind it out
Me
more.
too.
yeah, with him, especially at the goal line. But
yeah.
Latavius still kind of looked hobbled with his ankle and everything. I know McKinnon was coming off an ankle issue as well, but it's clearly Jerick McKinnon. It is a wheels up for him.
Especially this next week, he actually plays the Packers, and they will be playing from behind. I mean, that's
hopefully.
I think they'll be playing from behind. It'll go. The game script will warrant more passing downs for Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah. All right. So moving to our wide receivers, who you got as your wide receiver standout?
T.Y. Hilton again. He's getting it done without Andrew Luck. And so the Andrew Luck injury is still kind of up in the air. I expect we'll see him back in the next 3 games, somewhere in there. It's been a long, grueling process for all of those who are still
cross your fingers
who are still rostering Andrew Luck. But T.Y. Hilton is still a starter every week. I mean, he's shown that no matter who his quarterback is, he can still be productive and fantasy relevant.
Yeah, surprisingly, the Colts are putting out some fantasy relevant players right now. Marlon Mack had a good game. Jacoby Brissett's not that terrible.
He's not awful.
Jack Doyle, as much as I don't really want to play him, but he's a tight end that's healthy, or somewhat healthy. He had the concussion last week.
Yeah, but still more than you can say of over half the tight ends in the league right now.
Yeah. All right, my wide receiver standout from this week, Davante Adams. 2 touchdowns, a game winner, this all after that horrific hit in week 4.
Yeah.
Comes off of that. He's hospitalized. The guy takes a hit where people think he's dead, basically, and he comes out and does this. And it shows just, especially on that last drive, it just shows how much trust and faith that Aaron Rodgers, and willingness to throw to Davante Adams.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers' willingness to throw to Davante Adams. It's just, I don't know. Other than Jordy, Davante's Aaron's guy, and being able to go to him on back-to-back plays and go up and make a big play like that, it's just
same play back to back, and just he missed it the first time. He said, "Hey, throw it to me again. I'll do the same thing," and he did it.
And I just want to point out, in the past 2 years, obviously people are kind of worried about how can an offense sustain 2 or 3 receivers that are this relevant. But since the start of last year, the 2 leading receivers in the NFL in terms of touchdowns are Jordy with 20 and Davante Adams with 16. Those are 1 and 2. Mike Evans has, I think, like 13. Odell has like 13. Antonio Brown's up there. But 2 guys from the same team. And Davante Adams, I mean, he's a good receiver, but he's not Odell. He's not Mike Evans. No. He's not A.J. Green. No. But he's getting the touchdowns because his quarterback is so freaking good.
Yeah, because they throw touchdowns.
Yeah. When you have a guy like that, he makes everyone better. So it's definitely good signs for Davante Adams, especially after that huge collision. Right. Tight ends. Who you got as a tight end standout?
Ed Dixon.
Ed.
It's just I was not high on him even after Greg Olsen went down, but he's showing to be again, he's healthy. Yeah. And he's getting targets, which is the key to tight ends this year. But this game, he had a huge 64-yard catch.
I think he had a 54 one too.
Yeah,
he had 2 big ones.
But with no touchdowns, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just not fast enough, I guess.
Hey, he is a tight end.
Yeah. Hey, tell that to Austin Hooper and O.J. Howard.
Yeah.
No, but Ed couldn't get in the end zone, but he did really well. He had 175 yards. Showed that he could be a mediocre stand-in for Greg Olsen. Obviously, he is no Greg Olsen.
Yeah. I'm going to go with David Njoku. 1 touchdown in this game. Got not the greatest number of targets. I think it was like 4. But the touchdown, amazing one-handed catch. It seems like they're finally utilizing what he can do. He's one of the more talented guys on that team. Obviously, the receivers are just nothing right now, and
that's very true.
Other than really Duke Johnson and David Njoku. So I don't know. Going forward, maybe give the guy a look. Tight ends, like I said, they're basically catchers in baseball. They'll have good weeks and they'll have awful weeks. You just gotta find the week that counts.
Yeah. The only thing that worries me about him is the quarterback situation.
Yeah, that's not pretty right now. And it's Cleveland, so he could just crash and burn anytime. All right, moving on into our flops from the week. QB position. Who you got, Brett?
I've got Mr. 5 interceptions, Big Ben Roethlisberger. Total flop. I don't know what is going on there. I mean, you probably already saw the post-game conference where he said, maybe I don't have it anymore.
Why? First of all, why on earth would you say that now?
I have no idea.
At least keep that to yourself. At least, like if you, I mean, that's fine if you believe that, but save that till the end of the season.
Oh yeah.
At least give your players some hope.
Not going into week 6 when your quarterback. I mean, that just hurts the whole offense. I mean, when you're self-doubting yourself in a public manner like that, it's just like. And remember in the offseason, he even contemplated retiring. Yeah, and now he's saying maybe I don't have it anymore, or I just need to play better, stuff like that. I mean, it's just not a whole lot of good coming out of his mouth right now.
Yeah,
and this was at home.
Yeah,
which is even more surprising.
Yeah, well, I will say the Jags defense looks incredible at the moment.
Yeah. You have to give them that.
Yeah, and I think a few of those interceptions came late in the game when he was trying to just heave things up there.
Yeah, and some of them were tipped and stuff, but some of them were just awful.
But it's adding to my prediction of Roethlisberger is going to retire this year, or at the end of this year. Kirk Cousins is going to be their quarterback next year, and Le'Veon won't be on that team next year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We might be seeing a whole new Pittsburgh team come this time next year.
Yeah.
I was also going to go with Ben Roethlisberger, so we'll just skip there. Keep it there.
It was a double flop.
Yeah. All right. Running back flop of the week. I'm going with Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
3 points in this game. I will say, honestly, they really couldn't get anything going at all. The Rams.
No, he wasn't the only Ram that struggled.
the Seahawks pretty much bottled them up all day, made life miserable for Jared Goff. But Gurley, it would have looked a lot better if he had the touchdown that was taken away from him. Rightly so. If he would have just held on to it for just a split second longer. He obviously fumbled it out of the end zone. It hit the pylon, I believe, and obviously ruled a touchback. But definitely not a good performance from Todd Gurley. And just like what we said, that Dallas game was the last we're going to see of the dominance of Todd Gurley this year.
He is. I'm still selling him at this point.
If you can,
if you can, I think you still sell him, but don't fire sell him. I mean, don't sell him for scraps or like some of these up and coming running backs that haven't proven themselves. I mean, that's not worth it.
Yeah.
My flop for the week, I'm going to go Latavius Murray.
Latavius Leviticus.
And he just really burnt some people who went out there and spent those high waiver wire picks.
You're the Peyton Salty player of the week.
Yeah. I know I'm not the only one in the fantasy world, though. I mean, he was a lot of people's top ad of the week because we saw Dalvin Cook get a season-ending injury. We thought that Jarrett McKinnon has never really been that good, and he's more of a receiving down back anyway. So Latavius Murray has all the workload in front of him, and he's 12 for 31, and that's it. 2.6 yards per carry. He just didn't look good. He didn't look healthy. It was just a big disappointment. Jarrett McKinnon looked a whole lot better. Yeah, Jarrett McKinnon pretty much solidified that role. So, Latavius Murray owners, sorry for those who picked him up. Yep. Looking at you, Brett. Yeah. All right, moving on real quick. Kind of got to speed this up a little bit. Wide receiver flops of the week. I'm going with Doug Baldwin. 3.7 points. Caught only 4 of his 8 targets. Yeah, that was weird. It was. Rams have a better defense than people think, but still the Seahawks have. I mean, they can do whatever they want. Really, it kind of makes you wonder if Doug Baldwin's still kind of hobbled by his groin injury. Yeah, I thought about that. But I don't know. Doug Baldwin's always been an up and down kind of player. Yeah, but I feel like this is just more Doug Baldwin. Yeah, so hopefully he'll come back from this. I do want to. Yeah, well, who's your wide receiver flop of the week? Mr. Goose Egg, Sammy Watkins. That's a good one. 4 targets, 0 receptions, and that's it. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with Sammy
didn't watch
Watkins.
Much of that game. Was he covered by Richard Sherman mostly?
Mostly, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Which is fair. Or fair to have 0 catches against Richard Sherman. He's not the only wide receiver that struggles against him. Yeah. But it's just continually just not knowing what they're doing with Sammy. It's just frustrating for fantasy owners who play him every week because of his talent, and I don't blame you. I don't blame you for playing him because he's the best wide receiver on that team. But just a really big letdown. Yeah, made me sad. And I have to mention before we move to our stock ups and stock downs, Amari Cooper. I don't know what is going on. Obviously, he has more like Amari Pooper.
Nice. Obviously, it was E.J. Manuel this week, but he has 23 yards in 3 weeks. Just 23 yards in 3 weeks. Something is seriously wrong with Amari and his ability to get open, catch the ball, and their quarterbacks and Jack Del Rio are kind of like avoiding throwing the ball his way. So I don't know. A lot of worry. He's worrying me. It hurts me.
I know.
As a
I
Bama
know.
fan, it hurts me.
I can see a tear rolling down your cheek.
Just
I think.
one tear. Just one tear. I'm not bawling yet.
That's for you, Amari.
All right. Stock ups and stock downs. Yeah, just real quick. Give me one of each. Stock up and stock down.
Give me more Doug Martin.
Doug.
A lot of people were worried about him coming off the suspension and everything. He was eased back in. He didn't see the typical workload he would receive. They did play on Thursday, so that factored into it. He looks like the same great Doug Martin. He's going to be a monster the rest of the season.
All right, my stock up is going to be... I did have Doug Martin listed, but I'm going to go with Jerick McKinnon. We mentioned him earlier. He was my standout of the week at the running back position. I think he just really solidified that role, and Latavius Murray, I don't really have much faith in him taking anything away. So, yeah, Jerick McKinnon, my stock up of the week. Yeah. Now, moving to stock down. Stock down, I'm going to have to go... I was going to say Todd Gurley, but everyone knows how I feel about that. I'm going to go with Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey. I think he's basically, at this point, just completely touchdown dependent. Almost...
that's how he's playing.
Yeah, almost Dez-esque, like when it comes to touchdowns, but I have more faith in Dez just because he's getting the end zone targets. I think he has 13 on the year now, and that offense is, I wouldn't say more prolific than the Eagles, but I definitely have more faith that Dez will get the targets in the end zone and more touchdowns than Alshon. So, yeah, I'm pretty much avoiding Alshon at this point. Who's your stock down?
I was going to say Amari Cooper, but the past 3 games he has 4 receptions for like 23 yards, 0 touchdowns. It's just awful situations. But to be different, I'm going to go with Martavis Bryant. It hurts me to say that because I was pretty high on him going into the year.
Yeah, I loved him.
But this past game, obviously this past game was all kinds of trouble for the Steelers. But 5 receptions on 8 targets, but for only 21 yards. He only has 1 touchdown this year. He's really only had 1 game of relevance through week 5, and his quarterback is questioning life. So I really don't see any reason for to be high on Martavis Bryant.
All right, so that's our stock ups and stock downs. We're going to go quickly through our waiver wire ads. Just give me, I'll start with the quarterbacks. There's not really many out there that are left. Obviously, we saw what Deshaun Watson did.
Hopefully, people picked him up last week.
But Deshaun Watson and Carson Wentz are still owned in less than 50% of leagues. So,
really?
Surprisingly,
I didn't think Carson Wentz would be that low.
Yeah, but if those are still out there, definitely go and snag them.
Yeah, Carson Wentz is playing lights out.
Yeah, so out of running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, give me your top 2 guys at the running back and wide receiver position, and then give me 1 at tight end.
Running back, if he wasn't picked up last week, Jerick McKinnon. Another running back I like is Marlon Mack. I think
love Marlon Mack.
Yes. Frank Gore's still there.
Sort of.
Sort of.
He's a shell of his old self.
Yeah, he's a corpse running around on the field, but he's still there, and so you got to keep an eye on the snap share. Mm-hmm. Wide receivers, Mike Wallace. I would not pick him up based on my team structure, but if you can afford to pick up a wide receiver that you could play based on the weekly matchup that he has, because at this point I think he's just a boom or bust. I mean, he's going to get some long balls and he's going to get some touches. Like this past game, he only had 3 catches, which is not what you want out of a wide receiver.
I'd rather have Mike Wallace than Martavis Bryant at this point, honestly.
At this point,
they're essentially the same type of player.
Yeah, but the Ravens seem to be picking up things and stuff is starting to go their way on offense. He had 133 yards, which is great, but it's a boomer bust play. Another wide receiver of note is Juju Smith-Schuster. I think it might be time for the Juju. He's more of a stash and hold because he's still a wide receiver 4 on the Steelers roster. that has Big Ben thrown to him, but they seem to like him. They're giving him targets, and he's producing. So I just feel like if he can earn a spot on that roster, maybe right behind Martavis Bryant, and maybe even ahead of Martavis the way he's been playing.
Yeah.
I think that he's got a lot of upside potential.
All right, I'll just give off or rattle off a few of my top guys. Obviously, I said Watson and Wentz at quarterbacks. Running backs, though, Aaron Jones, if he's still out there.
Oh, yeah.
Marlon Mack, definitely one of the top guys. I like Andre Ellington still, Matt Breida. I could go on and on. Obviously, we'll list some of these guys. If you follow us on Twitter, at the 423football, you'll be able to see all of these guys laid out in front of you. Wide receivers, I want to mention Will Fuller. He might still be out there in some leagues.
Yeah.
And then the Giants receivers, as we were talking about earlier, they have basically no one left from their starters. Sterling Shepard, he might even still be out there.
Because of the whole injury thing.
Yeah, and Roger Lewis, I guess. He's probably going to slide into the 1 or 2 role. And then,
I guess.
Yeah. You're going and then Tavares King, he got brought up from the practice squad this week.
Yeah. And
he played with the team last year. I think he had I'm pretty sure a big catch in the playoffs against the Packers. Actually, that's where I remember seeing him. And I mean, he's a quick guy. He's kind of lanky and everything, but maybe someone's got to catch the ball. And just a few tight ends. I want to mention Evan Ingram.
Yes.
He had 0 catches in this past game when all those guys went out, which is
so
odd.
weird. So strange because you think all of your wide receivers going down. You've got this receiving tight end. Why not feed him? Mm-hmm. But I think going forward that he's going to see a lot more.
He's going to have to.
Just for some unknown reason, he wasn't part of the game plan.
Yeah. And just a few more tight ends, as we mentioned, Ed Dixon earlier, David Njoku. Be careful with Ed Dixon, though. Chasing points. I do like... However, Cameron Braid is still out there in quite a few leagues.
Oh, yeah.
And Austin Seferian-Jenkins.
I wasn't going to let you get out of this section without mentioning Austin Seferian-Jenkins.
Yeah, he's not. There's not really many reliable pass catchers in New York. So just
he plays the Patriots this week. I think that matchup is really good because they've really struggled. You saw them struggle against Cameron Braid in Tampa last week.
Yeah,
they really struggled against. Receiving tight ends this year, so I think he's going to have another great game ahead of him.
Yeah. Before we close it out, I do want to. After I just remembered, I was going to ask this question at some point. We're going a little long here, but I'll ask it. And it's kind of, I don't know. I kind of want to save this question for our league-specific show because I know if Steele's on here or Kevin's on here, they'll have wild opinions. Well, we might ask it again, but here we go. It again. Giants obviously lost all these receivers, all these. That's going to hurt big time. Yeah. And obviously, the top guy, Odell Beckham, is out for the year.
Yep.
Do you think this, in some way, actually helps the Giants? And I'll explain. You want me to explain first?
You should probably explain first because I haven't dug deep enough to see a light at the end of this tunnel.
Okay, obviously. They're 0-5 right now.
They are.
They really, you can't get any worse than that other than just keep losing games.
Yeah, you can go horizontal.
Yeah, but they were doing that with Odell in their system.
Yep.
But the past couple years, I feel like they've been spoiled by Odell in the fact that they really just use him as a crutch and not... They force-feed him the ball a lot of times, which, is fine, because, we know how talented Odell is, but they've become too reliant on him, and they've become lazy in everything else, really. So do you think...
Like running?
Yeah, do you think... My question is, without Odell there, do you think the Giants really actually, find themselves again and be able to do things without Odell and possibly be even better a year from now when Odell's back and they can actually exploit... everything.
Be more balanced.
Yeah, exploit every part of that team. I
don't know about the next year thing. I don't know if it changes what they're going to do next year. I do follow the logic there. It'll be interesting because they will have to change. Well, especially with Brandon Marshall out for the season, Sterling Shepard limping around.
Yeah.
They're going to have to change how they play football. I mean, they're going to have to find a running game. I personally think it's going to be Gallman.
Praise be.
Yeah.
Praise be Wayne Gallman.
Yeah, but they're going to have to be able to block for him. They're going to have to be able to block for Eli because, I think one of the biggest reasons they feed Odell so much, other than he's one of the best wide receivers in football, is because he's the only one fast enough to get open in the first couple of seconds that Eli isn't having a defender in his face. I mean, when he has to fire it off there, he knows Odell has the biggest chance of having separation.
Yeah.
So I do think I don't know if it's going to make them better. It's hard for me to fathom them being better without Odell.
Yeah, I understand that. I just want to get a take on that because honestly that's what I was feeling, that in the long run it might actually help them right the ship.
I can see it,
but I don't know. We might ask that again on the Friday show.
That would be a good question for discussion.
Yeah, for everyone else. All right, so that's going to be all for today. Actually, before I close out, what'd you think of? I'm pretty much done with my beverage. What'd you think of it?
I liked it.
It grew on me. It grew on me throughout the show. Maybe it's just because I had more and more, but it's really, really smooth. I really like the taste, honestly.
I do, yeah. I've liked everything from Ballast Point.
Yeah, they rarely disappoint me.
Yeah. I like it, and the fish on the can really makes me happy.
The fish logo.
It kind of smiles at you.
Yeah. All right. So that's gonna be our show for the day. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the 423football. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Give us a like. Leave your comments and reviews. Thanks for listening. We are the 423 Football Podcast.